morning, friends. This is Kirsten from Poplar Spring Farm, and I'm going to show y'all how we just moved these chickens out onto pasture. We are going down to the chicken pen. We gotta air up the tire on the chicken house so we can turn it around and move the chickens out to the pasture. Leroy's getting the tractor. That's what we're gonna pull it down to the field with. Now, we do have a slight problem because we've never actually put this particular chicken house in this chicken pen. And so what we're going to try to do is turn it around by hand so that we can pull it out. We'll see how this goes. We have an idea of what we're going to try, but we're not really sure how it's going to work until we actually do it. So one end of the chicken pen just has the poly wire chicken netting, and it's actually not even electrified. We just strung it across there. So we're going to open that up, and then we have to drive the tractor. So we've got this road that goes in the middle of the garden, and I don't love bringing the tractor into the garden, but we'll have to drive across the edge of that bed there and into the chicken pen. And here's what the house looks like. They're all locked up still. And as you can see, there's not a ton of room in the chicken pen here, so that's how big it is. We're gonna try to turn it around by hand, like I said. And you can see that they need to go out on pasture. They've done enough work in here, and we need to give it a rest.
Hey, Chuck, where'd everybody go?
So we've got tires on this chicken pen that do not hold air very well. So Leroy's brought the portable compressor down to air them up, and the chicken pen itself actually isn't all that heavy. One of the biggest things that might be a pain is that the leaves are still a little deep right around the wheels, but we're gonna see if we can turn it around, or at least start to turn it around by hand.
That's the one that leads.
All right, they're pushing it. It's like a big tin box.
All right, that's about as we can go. Turn it all the way back.
This is the advantage to having big kids.
Oh man, whoa. Turn this wheel. Oh man. Got a small problem.
Leroy said the tie rod end has come off on the front axle, so he keeps pushing it back on. The way we used to move this thing was with the four-wheeler, because it's, like I said, it's pretty light, but unfortunately the four-wheeler is broken down right now. That's the story of our life. Broken down stuff. But there's more than one way to skin a cat, right? Alright, this is actually working better than I expected. As soon as you think it's close enough to hook up with the tractor, it's fine.
Alright, y'all.
Leroy is pretty good at operating equipment. However, he cannot see that post. I'm hoping he doesn't hit it. All right, he's looking. Woo, he made it. All right. Very good. And I know he's trying not to run over a whole lot of my garden beds, which is nice of him. Now he's gonna have to get it down on the road over there and make a kind of a sharp turn to head down to the field. All right, this is the far side of the garden, and this is the first time we've had big gates on the garden. We put them on a couple months ago. We did not used to have gates to get in and out of the garden, believe it or not. We went through the electric fencing or put it down or whatever, so gates are a huge plus. The plan is for Leroy not to tip this thing over. He's got to make a big, wide turn here to head down the logging road. Looks like he's doing great. All right, chickens are having a ride. You know, it's probably going to slow their laying down for a few days, but they'll be happy to be out on pasture. Our farm roads are seriously rutted up. So definitely a challenge to bring this thing down here. It's a little ways down to the field we're putting the chickens in. We're passing what we call the chicken field because we used to run all our broilers in here. Back in the day, we sold hundreds of broilers every summer that we raised on pasture. Now, we've got the dairy cows in here, and we've got some kids watching them because thinking our Jersey might be in heat. Here's our broiler pens. Hey, Suki. All right, but we're taking this path and going to what we call the middle field, which is where we run our layers. That's the side of our big field. But we're gonna turn here and go through this little section of woods where we've got a little road. This is such a cool spot down here. It used to be really junky and full of snakes, but we've cleaned it up. And it's kind of a neat spot now. And you didn't used to be able to get to the middle field through those woods, and now you can. So this is the field we're gonna run them on. We move them every day to fresh grass and keep them out here until well into the fall. We really like having the chickens on pasture, and where we live, we cannot just free range them. We actually tried that a few times, but we have way too many hawks and predators, and this field, all our fields really, a lot of our fields are way too far from the house to keep an eye on anything, and we're surrounded by hundreds of acres of woods, so we have a lot of predators. All right, well, Leroy's still bringing the tractor. I want to show y'all something. This is what the chickens do. They turn things really, really green. Up there you can see the stripe where we had them, where we ran them last year. They do nothing but improve the fields. if they're rotated, they have to be rotated. The number of chickens we have in the size pen we have means rotating every day. If you've got a bigger pen or fewer chickens, of course, you don't have to rotate that often, but the name of the game, whether it's chickens, cows, goats, pigs, sheep, whatever you got, the name of the game to improve your pasture is to keep them rotating often enough that the grass is getting healthier and greener and it's not getting grazed down too far to where it has a hard time recovering. All right, there's Leroy coming through the woods. Glad to see we have the branches trimmed up high enough for that house. And there's some cows, probably wondering what's going on. And the girls have brought some stuff. I think Leroy had them bring a tarp and some zip ties. Oh yeah, I think we've got a cow in standing heat over there. Oh, that's excellent. All right, but the tarp goes on top of the little chicken pen we have to give them shade. So I'll show you what that's all about in a minute here. All right, this is our chicken pen that we made that attaches to the side of the chicken house. This is the side that attaches where the little ramp goes down for when the chickens come out of their house. And we just made it with, we had extra well pipe. And we made this thing pretty much out of scrap, but the well pipe, I think entirely out of scrap. We had chicken wire, we had old wood, we had well pipe. So in fact, we even made the what you pull it with well wire, because we had to work on our well last year. We had extra stuff. All right, so here is the trick. Bringing this thing up to just the right spot. This is from the inside. Oh, Leroy, back up a little bit. You went just slightly too far.
I don't care.
Are you gonna pull this thing? Okay.
Hey, this old hard.
All right. Leroy knows what he's doing. Of course, pull the lighter thing. There's their water. There's the feeders we made out of buckets a long time ago when we used to raise a lot of broilers. Those are good feeders.
I'm gonna need that bit with this thing together.
That's a Joel Salatin style dolly right there.
We're gonna need them. Hey, we don't have the little one? I'll hold branch up for a minute.
Okay, Leroy's got this thing lined up good now. You see how snug and tight this whole thing is. And then I think there's something that they put right there so chickens can't get under the ramp when it's down. Chickens want to get out. They're going to let them out in a minute. First step, this is a much bigger tarp than we had last year. We had a small tarp over the top and it wasn't quite enough.
So,
Putting a tarp on the top of this thing is a bit of a pain.
so,
And
alright, Ava, take this end.
let's see how this goes.
You can go over there. Ava, go that way. And yeah, like that. Now I gotta put your feet up here. Y'all gotta pull the whole thing.
This field does get a lot of shade because it's a really narrow field, but if they get any time during the day when it is full sun, no shade, that's not going to be any good for them. That's going to stress them, and we don't want them not to be able to have shade. Of course, there's shade in the house, but it's a tin box, so they need shade where there's fresh air, and this will actually help them out so they can stay out when it's raining too.
Man, this might be just about the There we go. It's slightly big, but it
So they are going to attach it with zip ties. Okay, Leroy's told me that actually they don't put anything between the bottom of the ramp and that piece of plywood because the ramp closes it enough. So here they go to their pasture home. Boy, are they happy.
Ava, you want to put the chain in the pen away?
The kids are just finishing up getting the tarp on with zip ties. And
the chain, actually, we need, Ava, just hook the chain up with the pen.
this is the same non-GMO feed we get from Sunrise that we gave the pigs. I mean, that was pig feed and this is chicken feed. This is specifically for layers, but all the feed that we use for our animals we get from Sunrise, which is a Mennonite farm up in the Shenandoah Valley, and they have really good quality, and we can buy in bulk from them. We've been using them for years and years and are very happy with the quality of their feed. All right, we've got these guys out on pasture. They are going to be so happy. The weather is absolutely perfect, and the chicken pen can now have a rest of about a month before we plant anything. So I am closed in here. Did y'all lock me in here?
Yeah.
I seriously am locked in here. Yeah, these great kids I have. Thank you. Oh, that's a little better. I like the chickens, but I don't want to spend the day with them. All right, this is the latches that we have on here that coons cannot go through. They're nice and safe.
Okay, so we did not.
All right, great job, guys. Very good. We're ready to go back to the house.